Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Sonic and the Black Knight playthrough. It's time to begin the second half of the game, so it's time to head straight back into the adventure, heading on to Knight's Passage, which has just opened up for us. So let's see where things go from here. Should be very interesting, I think.
We have orders from the king. Have you any last words?
Your king was nothing more than an illusion my grandfather conjured up. You'd better start explaining, Merlina.
Merlina! You! How did you come by that scabbard? Where is the king?
Wait.
This was all he left after he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Just like one of the knights of the underworld.
There was never any King Arthur.
Huh?
Well done. And thank you, Sonic. With this scabbard, I can erase my grandfather's greatest mistake.
What?
I shall make this kingdom eternal.
Sonic, get back!
Oh, I love that sequence so much. Both the cutscene preceding it and the CGI cutscene just... Oh my god! Not too keen on Knight's Passage as a level, but I'll just go and gush over the cutscene and the plot twist, because... Oh, it's brilliant. Like, they don't... It kind of comes out of nowhere, but I think it works remarkably well, because they do set it up. Because when you had the cutscene with Merlina when you were walking, and Merlina's theme played, you could see something wasn't quite right there, and it's just quite a nice twist, considering in Secret Rings you had Shara, who was your companion, and she was entirely your companion. There was a slight twist in relation to her relationship with the Eraser Djinn, but that was about it. But it's quite nice to have a true villain who's actually somewhat complex, because she's your ally and then she betrays you, but then also you can already see what her intentions are, and they're not necessarily bad, and I really like that as a narrative tool. Complex villains are always the best. Merlina's not necessarily the most complex thing ever in the world, but still. Also, the cutscene that we had, just musically, was phenomenal, because you had Merlina, her wicked smile, which is easily one of my favourite cutscene tracks in the game. I can't remember what the name of the song is for the escape sequence, but it's just so awesome that I don't really care. And what's really cool with how Black Knight does things is that once you get into this second half of the game, everything opens up quite dramatically. because as soon as you finish this level, you suddenly get new characters to play as, you get a whole batch of new levels, you're given the option of where to go, and it's just so awesome that there's a level of freedom given to you. So, while I would say that the first half of Black Knight can be slightly limiting, once you get into the main run of things, it's great.
Come a fair distance.
Also, I think it's this particular mission. If you complete this within a certain time frame or something along those lines, you can get an item called the Medal of Sonic. And that allows you to change the music of a level. It's something I will be showing off, don't you worry. Just the same as I will be showing off what the likes of the Medal of Percival, the Medal of Lancelot, and the Medal of Gawain do, although we haven't picked up the Medal of Gawain. That's something that I will have to do off screen. But yes, you're going to be seeing quite a lot of elements of Black Knight that you may not have necessarily experienced before. And I'm very happy to show that off to you all, because as I've stated many, many times, I think Black Knight gets a rather bad rap, despite it actually being a pretty gosh darn decent game in a lot of the stuff that it does. Also, this level is quite long, as you can probably tell. You certainly can beat it quicker. I mean, if you use things like the Soul Surge, that'll get you through this level so much quicker, but for some reason I just don't like using it, unless I'm going in for the kill, because at that point you're doing decent stuff with it. But, I just tend to play games my own way, which is not always the best way if you're wanting to, you know, get like the highest rankings and of everything. But you just gotta go with the flow, really. But either way, we've escaped, and phew, things are serious.
It's only a matter of time before the kingdom is consumed.
The Knights of the Round Table. Must we simply stand and watch our kingdom's ruin?
Gawain.
What? Are you gonna give up just like that? Is that the best that chivalry of yours can do?
How dare you!
Listen, it's like I said before. Isn't there more to being a knight than serving a king?
Sir Sonic is right. And there's still time if you act now. Use the sacred swords to form a barrier around the castle.
For the kingdom and its people!
For the kingdom and its people!
I'm counting on you.
Sir Sonic, what will you do?
Once the barrier's up, I'll look for a chance to jump in.
Surely you jest.
Nah, it's just how I roll.
Fare thee well. We too shall fulfill our appointed task.
And with that, we've got 3 brand new locations to go to, and we can now play as the Knight of the Round Table, which is exactly what we're going to do. But not right now. Right now, we are going to go through the missions that I didn't do before we took on King Arthur, because I felt now was probably a reasonably decent time to do them, and I felt bad for not doing them before King Arthur, so now is as good a time as any before we get on with more plot. Now, this was the particular mission that I tried to do before facing down King Arthur, and it went horrendously because I kept falling off the rail, and falling off the rail means that the mission's ended. It's not hugely difficult once you know what you're doing. Basically, for the first batch of lava carts, you slash, and then the next batch, just jump. That timing will generally work a lot better, but that's about the best you can do. And now it's time to go for Reach the Goal at Camelot Castle. And if you're wondering what that little, I think, seeming glitch was in the footage jumping, I'm pretty sure that was my hoppage deciding it was gonna freak out. It did that a few times throughout that particular recording session. And it happened in 2 levels that I ended up having to redo. This being one of them, which was incredibly frustrating. But I just left that particular bit in because it was in the result screen. You didn't really need to see most of the other rubbish, so... oh well. In the meantime, this is just a go for the goal, which is pretty simple in the grand scheme of things. I probably could have done this one before I took down King Arthur, but I think considering I had the grief of the Molten Mine mission, I thought, oh god, they're all going to be like that. Nope, no thank you, I just want to beat King Arthur and then come back to them at a later point. But it's variety at the end of the day. And you never know exactly what you're going to come up against. Some of the missions, I would say, are not amazing in what they ask you to do. In fact, they're rather cheap. I would say that the Don't Fall ones are particularly mean, but there are certainly crueler ones out there. More of which you will see later. Probably more in the extras, because that is when I'm mostly dealing with all of the missions that become available to us. As it stands, only, well, some of them will only appear after you've beaten the game fully, so I suppose the one major positive about getting to redo this particular mission was that at the end of it I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a much better rank because I actually knew what I was doing, rather than frantically trying to waggle my way through. And here's a fun trick if you want to attempt to improve your times on a whole bunch of missions. Instead of leaping towards the walls, just try and drop off the edge. So like, don't fling yourself towards the wall because then you'll hook onto it. What you want to be doing is just jumping off the edge and then you'll be able to continue. Also, if you give rings to that particular townsperson, if you know you don't accidentally kill them, that will also improve your rank in the end. Also, this is a rather fun thing, because obviously we did that in another mission, and it remains here. The same with all of the broken bars, which is just like, oh! There's actually continuity between some of these levels, which is just ridiculous. Nice bit of attention to detail, I think. Because admittedly, I wouldn't have thought that they would have done that at all. I mean, what's the point? You can just do it again. It's not a huge difference. So, yeah, but it's a nice little touch, so I will gladly accept it. Also, higher score, I will take it. But yes, we only have, I believe, one more mission, and then that. Maybe 2. We'll see. But either way, once we have gotten all of those missions done, it'll be time to take on our main quest, which will be going to the Shrouded Forest, Great Megalith, and the Cauldron to erect the barrier. But seeing as obviously we've got all the time in the world, let's just absolutely slaughter 60 enemies. Funnily enough, this isn't actually as easy as you would think it is, because while there are maybe about 65, 70 enemies in this level, it can be slightly difficult to ensure that you actually kill 60 whilst getting through the level, because it's easily possible to get all the way to the end and you'll have only killed maybe 40. It's just a case of you have got to be really, really consistent in your murdering. Making use of the Soul Surge is, I would say, key to doing well. Also, you are in the most random place ever, but I will give you rings because why the hell not? It'll give us an item and that's always nice. The main thing that you want to make sure you do with this mission is that by the time you get to the two big guys, and don't worry, you will see them coming, you want to only have... you want to have at least 58 enemies on the counter. So those are the two big guys. You want to have 58 by the time you reach them, otherwise you won't hit the goal. And maybe re-estimating the number of enemies in this level is probably about 80. But if you're running through it the way I was, you're not really going to be getting all of those enemies, so just be careful. And really, you should be killing far more and getting hit far less if you want the higher ranks. But either way, that's all that. It's time to go on to our last mission before we actually continue with the plot. And that's Rush Hour, which, oh my god, this is just mean. Thank god. Actually, no, they did get you to do stuff like this in Secret Rings, and it was awful, because it was like, don't collect pearls, and it was just ridiculous, because you had so little control over Sonic's movement. Because obviously Sonic would always run forward, you just ended up in situations where it was nigh on impossible to dodge things. At least here you can stop completely still, and that helps. Now what is particularly also helpful is that if you hit a townsperson with your sword, that doesn't count as touching a townsperson, so accidentally killing the townspeople ends up being better for you than anything else. Which is slightly odd, but there we go. Anyway, those are the extra missions that we had before King Arthur. They're all done now, so it's time to move on with the plot. And oh, we've got so much to do. Better get on with it.